Hi, everyone.
Greetings. We're in Genesis chapter 49 now. We've already covered the first 7 verses having to do with Jacob's blessing on his firstborn, secondborn, and thirdborn sons.
The
That is
prophecies
Reuben,
connected.
Simeon, and Levi.
Mm-hmm.
Now we get to the key prophecy in this chapter of prophecy, and that's the blessings upon Judah, the fourthborn.
Judah, you are he whom your brothers shall praise. Your hand shall be on the neck of your enemies. Your father's children shall bow down before you. Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, you have gone up. He bows down, he lies down as a lion, and as a lion, who shall rouse him? The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh comes, and to him shall be the obedience of the people. Binding his donkey to the vine, and his donkey's colt to the choice vine. He washes his garments in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes. His eyes are darker than wine, and his teeth whiter than milk.
So a lot of this even seems mysterious to this day, and we're now well on to 4,000 years later since Jacob said these things. Mm-hmm. Some of them are clear, though. For instance, the
Verse
reference
10.
to the domination of Judah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not clear at this point in time in Egypt, that Judah is going to be the dominant tribe, but you certainly get that impression from this. Mm-hmm. Your brothers shall praise you. Your hand shall be on the neck of your enemies. So the fact that he's dominant within Israel, but also he's dominant in the community of nations that the Jews end up in. Even the fact that they're now called Jews, sons of Judah, evidences that this has all been fulfilled. The dominant tribe and the place where rulership dwelt in Israel legally was in the tribe of Judah, in Jerusalem, of course, in the family of David. That's not all clear here, how this is all going to work out. But the domination is clear.
Mm-hmm. So, and I think the verse 10, the messianic aspect of the promise is there. In the verse 10, Shiloh comes. And he shall he shall have the nations obeying him. So it's not just Israel. Like before it talked about his brothers bowing down. But this is the people.
Yeah, peoples, plural.
And to him shall be the obedience of the people. Yeah.
So we're talking about an international role for the Messiah. Messiah is not just to save Israel. He's the one through whom the blessing will come to all the families of the earth. So that's expanded very, very much here. But there are elements in it that are rather vague, and yet you can understand them when you know that Jesus fulfills this perfectly. First of all, the fact that he's the Lion of the tribe of Judah, that's his title in the book of Revelation. Right? The last reference to his messianic titles is about that in Revelation 22.
Yeah.
He's the Lamb, so there seems to be a veiled reference to his humility here. He stooped down. He crouched as a lion. And then this idea that he binds his foal to the vine. Well, we know later on, there's an explicit prophecy in Zechariah that when Messiah comes to Jerusalem, he will come on a donkey, a foal of a donkey.
Yeah, which would be not typical of kings, right?
Yeah.
Kings usually would come on horses, but he fulfills this part.
Yeah.
Coming on a donkey.
And the fact that the scepter did not depart from Judah, that we know that even after the exile, when there was no longer a literal son of David sitting on a literal throne in Jerusalem, nevertheless, the records were kept of the tribal descents, so that when you get to the New Testament in Matthew chapter 1, the very first chapter of the New Testament, or Luke 3, the genealogy of Jesus, both of the gospel writers are tracing the genealogy of Christ back to David.
Yeah.
And that's very important because those records were destroyed when the temple was destroyed a mere 40 years or so later. So to prove who the Messiah was, you needed those tribal records.
Yeah.
And verse 11 seems to be the most mysterious here. This binding his foal to the vine and his donkey's colt to the choice vine. He has washed his garments in wine. Well, that seems to be a reference to blood. Certainly it is in the later prophets.
Yeah.
And in Revelation 14. Washed his garments in wine. So there's some judgment attached to this person, this son of Judah, and his vesture in the blood of grapes. His eyes are darker than wine, and his teeth whiter than milk. So the commentators, when they're looking at this, connect it to later prophecies that expand on many of these ideas. But certainly the idea of the vine as being the symbol of prosperity, an earthly paradise. I think Kidner links it to that idea in the later prophets of the vine, everyone sitting under his vine and under his fig tree, etc. And Delitzsch does here. This is on p. 385 of the second volume of Franz Delitzsch's commentary on Genesis. He says, "And such a simple, idyllic, peaceful life was indeed during the period of the judges." Now, we wouldn't have noticed that. The tribe of Judah doesn't become dominant. Apparently they have a lot of peace during even the period of the judges. The happy lot of Judah above all the other tribes in that period when there were constant invasions going on, right? But in the times of David and Solomon, all Israel shared in the prosperity of Judah. We remember in Kings it says every man was under his vine and his fig tree during that 40-year period of Solomon. But with Solomon, it came to an end. So even though there was a temporal fulfillment in the days of David and Solomon, when the family of Judah had become dominant, although they were still called Israel at this point, they hadn't become known as Jews yet. But the ultimate fulfillment is the Lion of the tribe of Judah in the New Testament, Revelation. You have a quote too?
I have a quote from John Davis in Paradise to Prison, his commentary. So he says, "Judah, it will be remembered, had engineered the sale of Joseph into slavery and wronged his daughter-in-law Tamar. However, by this time both sins had been expiated. Jacob left little doubt that Judah would become one of the most prominent tribes, and one whom thy brethren shall praise. The phrase his hand will be upon the neck of the enemies indicates that Judah's tribe would succeed in warfare, and its success is a matter of record."
Good. Did we write down any links?
I think we did. We said we would link to, why did Christianity conquer the Roman Empire? How could a crucified Messiah defeat the pagan god?
Yeah, that's the irony of the book of Revelation, that when the Lamb is introduced in chapter 5 before the heavenly court and all creation sings his praise, you hear that the Lamb has conquered, and then John turns around and sees the Lamb. But he's been described already as the Lion of the tribe of Judah.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the book, that reference is brought back in again. His conquest, at least so far, has been, well, how many people on the planet are serving him? Well, about 1 in 3 persons on the planet claims to be a disciple of Christ today.
Yeah. So.
But in the future, it looks like the people will serve him from sea to sea and from the river to the ends of the earth, we're told in Psalms.
Yeah.
So Rodney Stark, in the video we're referencing here, talks about how it came to be that even though the Jews were wonderful militarily, they couldn't conquer Rome. The Lamb could, though. And therefore the great paradox of that great messianic title, the Lamb, in the book, the dominant name for Christ in the book of Revelation, no fewer than 28 times it's used.
We'll link to the apologetics playlist as well.
See you next time.
Mm-hmm.